Well, hello, y'all. It's Sunday afternoon. Pretty sunny day. A little chilly, but really nice. I go out into the yard on the weekends, usually on Saturday, and I've got a list, pretty long list of things that need to be done. I've got a pretty good sized yard, and it seems like there's always something on that list that could be done. And I always try to decide which is the most important thing on the list. And sometimes it's hard and sometimes it's real easy. Like when we had the storm come through and blew a tree down over our yard, that's happened 3 different times. I've had that happen in the last 3 years or so, maybe 2 years. Anyway, when I see it, it's always like, oh boy, here we go. Not looking forward to that, but you know what? I try to just not let it upset me. I try to just keep my peace, and it always works out. I had a tree. Oh, but first of all, I didn't want to forget to mention the fig tree. There was a fig tree right here, and it's still here. One year it completely froze, and I thought it was not going to come back. I mean, I didn't know, but there was hardly anything left. But this year, like 2 years later, this thing was like 12 feet tall, and it's a kind of a problem to mow around it because it gets really, I still need to mow with a push mower around it, the base of it. But yesterday I spent probably 2.5 hours cutting that tree back, which, okay, that's the fig tree. I'm going to try to turn this camera and show you a gap in the fence, which is probably, I don't know, the sun's so bright today I'm not sure it's going to be visible to me. However, there's a tree back there. My ugly barn. I didn't want to get that in there. Now you know I have an ugly barn. Okay, but there's a burning pile, and then there's a gap in the fence, and there's what's left of the tree because I haven't cut the stump down yet. I left about 4 feet tall, but that tree was about a base of about 7 different trees. You might can imagine when I came out and saw that, and it's on the neighbor's property, and I immediately like, oh boy, here we go. I can't just deal with this, whenever. This guy's not going to want these 7 trunks laying over his yard, and he's got horses over there. So I thought, yeah, I got my work cut out for me, and I did. I don't know, it probably took me a couple of weeks, but he actually contacted me and thanked me for how, what a good job I did and put his fence back and all that. But I told him, I said, well, I just try to look at it like this. I try to do it like if it was the reversed, how I'd want it done for me. And so I was glad that he was happy, though, because when he called me and I saw his caller ID, it really made me concerned. I thought, I wonder what he's going to say. I hope he's happy. He was happy. But this fig tree, I've heard that you're supposed to prune those things back, and you'll actually probably get a much better, more quality, and maybe more of them. Of fruit. Now I rarely eat figs. They're pretty good. I've tasted them, and my father-in-law used to make jams and such out of them, and we gave them to him. But I just decided, you know what? We probably had a fig tree. I didn't plant it. It was here, when we came here 27 years ago, and so. But I thought, I kept feeling compelled to do something with the fig tree, and so guess what I did yesterday? I got out here and trimmed the fig tree. I just felt like that was what I was supposed to do, and I can't tell you how that works. But there's a lot of things in life like that. You can just sit and wonder, how to go about things. What am I supposed to be doing? Sometimes, I never did appreciate when somebody sat around and told me they were bored. I said, you know what? I could put you to work. You wouldn't be bored. And for me, as long as I have a big yard, I don't think I'll ever be bored either. But I was thinking about this. We're always looking for guidance in our life and how we're supposed to discern, what we're supposed to be doing. And that's really, a pretty simple thing that we make hard sometimes. I think, when we pray, we really can talk to God, just as if we have a friend standing next to us. He lives inside us. He does surround us. He hears us all the time. And all we have to do really is talk to him. And it's good if we know, we read his scriptures that tell us, the things that what he expects in this life, and when he put us here, how he expects for us to go about. And you know, one of the biggest things, especially this time of year, I think it's awesome that we can really, especially because a lot of people get depressed this time of year. I don't totally understand that, but I do. I've heard that many times. And what we need to do a lot of times, if we start feeling like we're depressed, is try to go out there and, you know, there's other people. Well, I know not everybody can say this, but for the most part, a lot of us are surrounded by other people, and we just need to convey to them how we want to be conveyed to. And so, you know, smiling at people sometimes, maybe we don't feel like smiling, you know, but just being friendly and maybe do a good deed here and there. That really, you may not realize it till you do it. Later, after you've done it, you can reflect back on it and think, that felt pretty good, you know. I just, until you've done it, you can't know the feeling I'm talking about. But I do try to do that, just like with the guy that, you know, the trees, my trees. It's funny, I had nothing to do with the wind coming through here. And of course, I'm sure he knew that too. But he was probably up in the air wondering, you know, he had to move his horses to a different part of his property. He's probably wondering, man, I wonder how long that's going to be. But he never really did. He didn't act, you know, any kind of way. He was just friendly. And when I told him that I was going to be on it and you know, I knew about it, then he's like, oh, okay. And so, yeah, I guess he took me at my word. And of course, I felt obligated after I told him I would. I had to own up to that. But, you know, we never know in life. The winds of life are blowing. Things are happening we have no control over. And for us to just lose our peace when something we don't have control over, you know, that's not going to fix anything. So a lot of times we have to ask the Lord, you know, in this situation, you know, what am I supposed to do? What's my part? And it's so simple just talking to him, you know. And I've even had to tell him this. I don't mean any disrespect, Father. I'm being honest. Sometimes I have questions. And, yeah, I know he knows our thoughts. He understands us. And in our sincerity, I think that makes a lot of difference when we're actually sincere. I really don't like it when I hear people say remarks about people that are sarcastic and making fun. You know, a lot of times I think they're doing that because they're in a bad place. Instead of being sarcastic and making fun, how easy would it be for them to smile and just say nothing if they're not going to say something nice? But not everybody's like that. We have some people that they haven't learned that yet, I guess. They just, it's like a hole. It's getting deeper. And, you know, that hole can start filling in as we do good things to others and we encourage other people. And that's all what I'm about. I want to encourage people. And if anybody's ever wondered about this hat, I do wear it a lot. And, you know, I used to be a pretty good fisherman at one time. There's always somebody better than me, though. I got to tell you that for a fact. I learned that early on. But this represents to me, you know, Jesus said, I'll make you guys fishers of men. Well, I want to be a fisher of men. That's what I'm about. If he can in any way use me to reach out to his people and draw them closer to him, I want to be a part of that. I mean, that's like my heart's desire is to be out there to encourage somebody that their spiritual life is going to grow and that the other life surrounding them in the material realm is going to be better because of that too. Because he is able to take little and make a lot out of it. It's like the yeast put in the bread, you know, the leaven in the Bible that's called leaven. No matter what it is that we're involved in, we might think it's a little thing, but it can turn out to be a big thing. You might even be surprised. I mean, you might just in your everyday life think, I'm going to start trying to think about this. I'm going to try to, you know, wear a smile instead of a frown. I'm going to try to not make sarcastic remarks. I'm going to try to say good remarks. You know, you never know. It might be multiplied. You might go and things might come out of it that you didn't realize. And later you find yourself looking back, reflecting, thinking, man, if I hadn't just done that little thing, look what's happening out as a result of that. You know, you might feed some hungry people, you know, at a time whenever they're having a hard time. You might give them a sack of groceries or something. I mean, I don't know. You know, we can listen for these things and try to do them. And God will encourage us to do it more. and he'll provide, and he always does. He seems like he doesn't really require of you to do something he don't make a provision for. He's always done that. Well, I've been on both ends of that. I mean, when we were children, we went through a time in our life where my dad got us way up there in almost into Canada, and there wasn't any mechanical work up there for him, and so things got pretty close. And he and I, we did a lot of fishing then, and we went hunting too. And you know what? This man brought back a bag of groceries one time, and I tell you what, he did it at a good time too. And it wasn't too long after that my dad moved us out of there, because you know we don't really like being on that end of things. We never had before. He'd always been able to earn for his family, and it wasn't his fault because he didn't know. My dad always, when we went somewhere, he always got a good job. We worked in Arizona when he worked out there in Kingman. He actually, at that point, had actually made the biggest job he'd ever made in his life. And he was just, we were really thriving out there in Arizona. And we had been in a couple of places between there. And when it came time to move out of the north, because there wasn't really work up there, and you know, his kind of work that he did. And then us kids, I wanted to go back to Arizona because, you know, we were having the life, you know, there was the money coming in. All I could think is, we move back to Arizona, I'm going to get a mini bike. But, you know, he didn't do that. I've said in a video before why we ended up where we did is because the lady sent a letter to him, you know, telling him the church was about to close. Brother Davis, come back. Please come back. And he did. He came back, and the church thrived, and it's still going today. So, you know, there's a right reason to do things, and we got to remember that. Sometimes it's not all just what we see that's going on. There's spiritual things too. And, you know, that's what it's all about, is being perceptive, doing the right thing, loving the Lord. And you know what? He'll take care of the things that we don't have control of. God bless y'all. Thanks for watching the videos. I appreciate it. And thank all of y'all for all y'all's prayers. And, you know, if you have any praise reports, put them in the comments. You know, I'm always glad to read good things. I had one more this week. A man said, I prayed for him, I don't know, 6 months ago. Said that he had cancer. He said today he's 100% free of cancer. Now, I will have to say, he did say he went through chemo. Kind of maybe, I wished he hadn't. I mean, I'm glad he did if that's what saved him, and praise God. But, you know, if nothing else, who knows? Maybe God worked it in success because of the prayers. I mean, that's God, though. It's not us, it's him. But I'm thankful for anything where people recognize the power of God working in their lives, and they express and give him the praise for what he does in their life. And so, yeah, I've always liked it whenever they say, you know, all we did was pray and everything worked out great. I like those stories where the doctors are scratching their heads and say, you know what, if I didn't see that last x-ray, I wouldn't believe it. That didn't happen this time, but that's okay. I still think it's worth mentioning, because this guy acknowledged that prayer was an important and significant aspect of his healing, and I'm very thankful for that. And so on that note, I'm going to check out here. Thank y'all, and God bless y'all.